Welcome everyone to a casted game of Age of Empires 4, and today spawning in the northeast corner of the map playing in green, we've got Van der Dorf playing as the English, and his opponent in the southwest playing in purple. We have got Really Unskilled playing as the Japanese. Welcome everyone to Gorge. That is the map for today, featuring one of the new civilizations of the Sultans Ascend DLC. And also featuring the English. We all know the English. As an Englishman myself, it's a very fine civilization. Many advantages. Of course, the Australian border. It's a great civilization in Age of Empires 4. In real life, you know, it's a decent one, I would say. But, I'm not biased at all. But in any case, we've got the Japanese facing up against them. Great civilization nonetheless as well. Probably, I have to say, these are probably my two favorite civilizations in Age of Empires 4. Primarily because they're farm-centric. I mean, again, another bias of mine. Pure disclaimers given out here today. Two great civilizations for farming, and I'm going to see some farms today. I'm pretty sure about that. But on the map like Gorge, this could be a really interesting matchup because we've got both civilizations incredibly flexible, I would say. The English can be very aggressive in the feudal age, but so can the Japanese. I'd say the Japanese have a bit of a power spike a little bit later than the English. The English kind of get rolling, 8 to 10 minutes. The Japanese sort of the 12 to 14, a little bit later. But both can really pack a punch, and we could just see a straight-up archer fight. I would love to see that because you do get the longbowmen with the increased range, increased attack, but increased cost. We get the Yumi Ashigaru for the Japanese, which are cheaper, less range, but they move faster. So it could become really snowbally in the early stages of the game. It depends whether that will happen or not. Who knows, really? We can't predict the future. I can't, at least. We'll have to find out what happens. So that means you guys can't go anywhere. Okay? You guys can't go anywhere because we've got to watch this one. The Cura storehouse coming up for the Japanese. No real surprises there. We don't really see the Cocker Township all that often. And I think it's a good thing. Free farms. I don't need to say anything more. Free farms. And what's really good about this land market, it scales really well with the town center upgrades. The Daimyo Manor, the Daimyo Palace, the Shogunate Castle. They're very expensive in terms of stone, but boy, oh boy, does it increase that economy. 25% harvest rate increase by the farms. For the Daimyo Manor, for the Daimyo Palace, 50%. Shogunate Castle, 75%. And that's just one of the bonuses. You get the additional arrow slits, you get the additional village, you get the additional HP, you get the extra bannerman too. An incredibly strong aspect of the Japanese civilization. The English are going to be going up to the Council Hall, a staple landmark for this civilization, giving access to the longbows. We do see a lot of villages on stone though, so Van der Dorf going to be looking to get that second town center pretty quickly, I suspect. The Japanese can get up to similar shenanigans, but we do often see them go for a second town center a little bit later, but now he's getting a forge on stone, which makes you think he's going to get one straight away. It does mean they'll be matching like for like, and you might be wondering, man, it's going to be a 2-town center versus 2-town center. It's going to take a while for this game to get online, but trust me when I say when it does kick off, it's going to kick off massively, especially on a map like Gorge where you have a complete the open center of the map. Okay, so we're gonna have to take some time to kill, the boring time where both players do boom up with the 2 town centers. But listen, can't have everything. What we will have is a lot of economy for both players and a lot of aggression coming in, maybe in the castle age. We will have to see. Maybe it could be a massive feudal age push too. Difficult to tell at this stage, but I think both options are very viable. And it's actually one of the reasons why I love this matchup, because generally, actually, both civilizations can do so many different things in this particular matchup and be successful with them. Now, you might be wondering, this Cura storehouse, why is it placed like this? Like, you're not going to get the farms now here, dude. Well, yes, actually, to be fair, it's kind of a thing. But the Cura storehouse, if you can't get the farms, it does give you the wood income to compensate per minute. So bear that in mind. I prefer the farms, and you guys can understand why. And Scout just being annoying here for Van der Dorf. Scouting out. Spots that his opponent is not on gold, so no real fast castle ambitions here for Really Unskilled. I hope Really Unskilled isn't true to the name. I want to see him being skilled today. We're going to see a good game of it. Wait, what? Did he just delete? I was going to go for a town center there, right? Okay. That makes sense. Deletes the mining camp. Decides to place a town center. A bit of an upgrade. Oh, by the way, I'd just like to say, seeing as we are going to need to pass the time a little bit, a very big thank you for everyone who is supporting the channel, even just coming in to say hi. I really enjoy that. Whether it's live on Twitch or on YouTube comments, you guys are, much appreciated. I really do appreciate your support. It's absolutely fantastic. And, I mean, what more do I say about that? I think Age of Empires 4 is in a really good spot, by the way, with the new civilisations. Really excited to cast more games. And, yeah, a very big thank you for you guys, because I'm enjoying casting games for sure, and I think it makes it a lot more enjoyable with the interaction from the viewers rather than just posting and then getting on with it. It's quite nice to know some familiar faces, which I actually have started to do, by the way. So if you are a regular commenter, just know I am watching. I do see. I do remember those names. Oh, quite a few villages on that gold vein, so it's going to be a fast castle looking into this, like 2 town centers to castle age. At least for the Japanese, and something to comment on is the Japanese are getting the Tawara upgrade from their farmhouse. Now the Tawara upgrade, I like to consider it as a baby wheelbarrow. It's kind of like halfway between wheelbarrow and nothing. They do have quite a few of these upgrades though, 3 of them. There's the Tawara coming in. Now the farming transition is coming up for Vanderdorf. Going to be playing a bit of SimCity with the farms. I hope he does it well, by the way. I gotta say, if you have been watching my YouTube videos recently, like a lot of players have been placing awkward farms and it does give me problems. Makes things very stressful. Sometimes they leave a tile gap and I'm just like, why would you do that? I know why it happens though, because if you play Age of Empires 4, sometimes if you actually spam click villagers onto farms quite quickly and you try and place it down quickly, for some reason the game just spasms and just has a meltdown and doesn't place them symmetrically and nicely. I'm not entirely sure why. But it is what it is. But today, thankfully, Vanderdorf is going to start off with getting them nicely, securely around that mill. Now, just to let you guys know, I am streaming live on Twitch, and the Twitch chat are going crazy about a guy called Skyfox. I don't know who Skyfox... I mean, I do know who he is as a player, but I casted one game, and it's kicked off a fuss. I think I really need to actually do some more research into Skyfox. It sounds like it's a... Sounds like a thing. It sounds like it should be something more important and relevant on the channel. Well, Vanderdorf, and really unskilled. Really testing our patience. It's 8 minutes in the game, and they're playing very patiently. But rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch to this point, if you know about the sunk cost fallacy, it means you do not click off this YouTube video, because if you do, you've just wasted that time, and let's face it, you've got a lot more value to gather. I think you're going to miss something very big coming in the next 5 minutes. Trust me on that. No, but really, because both players are actually probably going to get to Castle Age within the next 5 minutes. And, Castle Age does bring about lots of shenanigans, especially when they start challenging for the relics and getting those units out. Looks like the really unskilled player, who actually is quite skilled at getting into the Castle Age quite quickly, looks like he's going to go to the Castle Age pretty soon. And it's going to be the floating gate landmark, right? It's got to be. Oh, it is. Going to be the floating gate landmark. Looking to get the Yorishiro. And that will be able to be deposited in various buildings, whether it be town centre, increasing the villager production speed, maybe the forge to get the gold for free. And passively too. We will see what he decides to do. Zathras coming in with the 500 bits. Dude, thank you. I really appreciate that, dude. Holy smokes. You know, Zathras, he's a legend. I mean, he's slowly becoming a legend of the channel. Each time I'm streaming, he's nearly always there and always giving some bits in. I really appreciate the support. It's very much appreciated. Speaking about support, you know, the Shinto priest, they're definitely going to need some support gathering those relics, and it looks like it's going to get the samurai upgrade. I'd love to see those samurai on the field. We do see one of them so far, longbowman looking to poke and prod. And while the scout's getting involved, the English are going through tough times, sending a scout and a longbowman to deal with this. I've got to say though, the skins for the new Sultans Ascend DLC units, they really do look good. Does get to that castle age now really unskilled, but Vanderdorf is going to follow them pretty soon. And we do hear that Yorishiro being deposited Didn't quite track where that went. Did it go on the... Oh, it actually went on the stable. No, it went on the forge. It went on the forge. Yeah, so it's going to gather 75 gold per minute on the forge, and that's actually quite significant. That's actually pretty much the same as a relic. A relic giving you 80 gold. Unless you're the, you know, the HRE, the Regulus Cathedral. So it's effectively got 2 relics for free, nicely and protected, which is kind of crazy. Oh, it's going to go up with the White Tower. The villager's building that. And there's the samurai going to try and poke and prod, and won't get a villager, will lose his life for this as well. And while Vanderdorf getting to the castle age at a decent time, the question is, will he be able to challenge those relics? Because the Shinto priest is already out there scouring the map. There he goes. He's got the samurai for the bodyguard, who decides that he doesn't want to be a bodyguard anymore and leaves him to his devices and just stands still. Instead, he's got the mounted samurai. Does pick up that relic, and it's going to be back home in no time, that Shinto priest. Looking to wall up on the west side. Really unskilled. He wants to carve up the map and keep it for himself. It's understandable. Oh, well, Vanderdorf is aware about the Shinto priest coming out to gather those relics, and it's something that the English might want to do something about. Like, you don't really want to give away relics for free. Maybe he's going to go for the fast Imperial. Maybe, possibly. He's getting a lot of farms for it. Does have a monastery looking to challenge a little bit for those relics. Should at least get one, you would have thought. Now, one thing to bear in mind, by the way, about the berries for the Japanese, it's actually incredibly fast at gathering. So when you factor in that he's got the Tawara and the Tekizaiku, what I like to call baby wheelbarrow upgrades, he's actually going to be getting that berries a lot faster than many civilizations, even more faster than the Ayyubids, the Abbasids, or the Delhi Sultanate. So I think generally for food, the Japanese really do quite nicely. It does have the Daimyo Manor upgrade, by the way, so that's going to be an interesting 25% bonus on the harvest rate of the farms. Coming in with that bad boy upgrade. Oh, what's happening down the middle? Not much. Samurai getting poked and prod by a man-at-arms and the crossbowman. Could be Samurai versus man-at-arms today on the gorge. Love to see that matchup. Going on the map again. Has 2 relics deposited already here, the Japanese. Looks like the English are trying to bring back one home, and they really are challenging for those relics now, though. Heading down south, and he did pick up that one. He's going to be heading home with that, although the mounted samurai might have something to say about that. He's going to ride in and take it out, I'm afraid, for that English monk. Maybe not. Okay, yeah, he did, thankfully. But sometimes you just see the cavalry just ride past and not do anything about it, but he does take out the monk, and I'm afraid Vanderdorf, he's been outskilled by the really unskilled player in that situation. Couple of crossbows darted around and kind of scattered formation. Going to look to try and take out as many of those cavalry as they can. I mean, this is a fight that obviously really unskilled will win. Sort of. Yeah, he will eventually. But he's going to try and snipe that relic and get it away. But the mounted samurai might try and dive in. Wallow comes off and really unskilled. No. They stopped at the right time. Right on the edge. Good stopping there. Put the brakes on those legs. He's going to snipe out. I mean, the relic will be safe eventually, right? Because it's going to be underneath the White Tower now, but it's not going to go in for a couple more seconds at least. Shinto priest needs to deposit that one more relic. And does have another Yorishiro to put in a building of his choice. See it there in front of the Shinto shrine. Or the the floating gate landmark, I should say, really. In the southeast, villagers coming out on board, but there is a veteran spearman for the English looking to deny that. Now that he knows that he's on the... Oh, it's not the boar, actually. It's the deer carcass. But yeah, he's on the deer. And it's something that the English might look to try and punish. Well, it will take him some time to get across the map, right? The English have really gone for a heavy infantry-based army. Very low mobility. The Uma Bannerman going to ride in, absorb a lot of the TC fire. Does have a mounted samurai with him. Maybe look to go around to the back of the wood line. Sacred site is being capped on the west side. Quite a few units here looking to deny that relic, actually. That's kind of significant. Vanderdorf should have got that by now. It was his relic for the taking, but wasn't able to. Alrighty then. So pretty equal villager count, but I would say the military obviously leaning on the way of the Japanese, picking up that relic, and that's going to be 4 relics for him. Getting the sacred site as well, and I feel like really unskilled. His name is not appropriate because he's being very skilled in terms of actually getting the mid-map objectives in the form of the relics and the sacred sites. And it's not necessarily untoward that's going to be happening because the English do play a very condensed economy at times, very passive, until they reach their super strong power spike in the Imperial Age. Looking to just wall up here on the west side, looking to secure the boar and the gold vein. 2 gold veins actually. Now one of the reasons why I love this map actually, by the way, is because it does separate where players are going to be looking to be aggressive. So Vanderdorf will certainly want to be attacking here down in the south where there are gold veins, there are the deer camp. And of course really unskilled is going to want to be attacking the north. But it does always leave the middle exposed, right? It's probably the shortest and quickest route to your enemy. There's multiple angles to attack here for both players. Potentially, that is. Looks like Vanderdorf, though, he's got plenty of food. Just needs more gold to get to that Imperial Age. Did get that farming transition maybe a little bit too heavily. But I gotta say, once he does get to the Imperial Age, enclosures coming in will give him a lot of resources. Nope, crossbow. Taking down that villager, trying to wall up. I mean, just doesn't get it in time. Only a small bit left remaining to be walled up there for really unskilled. Bringing back that 4th relic. The Shinto priest has seen it all today on the gorge. Long distance walk. Must have arms of steel carrying that big relic. Going to be bringing it back home. Now it's going to be the Imperial Age coming out for really unskilled with the Tanegashima gunsmith. Going to give him access to, well, I guess kind of free units really. Gets free tickets for siege units, including the Ozutsu. Hopefully you see those guys. Those guys they're something else. There's quite a lot of military here. Very heavily armored units, by the way, guys. Samurai and mounted samurai. Samurai all around for the Japanese. Going up against crossbowmen and spearmen. And I gotta say, I gotta favour the mobility that the Japanese have at the moment. Because they never really have to engage unless they really want to. Does get the Daimyo Palace involved now in that town centre. So these farms are going to be 50% in terms of gather, or harvest rate I should say. It's actually kind of keeping up with the English, right? We've kind of battled the farms and the Japanese aren't doing too badly at keeping up. Now the English will be going up with the Berkshire Palace. Where has he placed it? Okay, it's placed up in the north, right? We did kind of feature and mention that this is actually quite a critical area for the map for Vanderdorf. A lot of his resources are camped out there. He's going to be shoring that up. The question is whether really unskilled says, okay, look, you've just spent a lot of resources to get the Imperial Age. I've got my upgrades coming in. Let's decide to attack. And this is going to be the elite upgrade for the mounted samurai. I've got to say, by the way, the elite samurai, mounted samurai look absolutely amazing. They get golden armor. What's not to like about golden armor? They look incredible. We'll see it in a couple of seconds. Does get that second town centre now as well. So really unskilled, really looking to solidify his village account and make sure his economy is strong. He's almost, I mean, both players are pretty much equally populated. Wait. Okay, still another minute or so for that. Army heading into the middle map for Vanderdorf. What I would say is really unskilled does have the potential for a sacred site kind of capping here. He's got 2 of them so far. All that remains is the one in the middle. And looks like Vanderdorf trying to break through in the north. He probably will break through very quickly. But with the mobility that really unskilled has with his army, he should be able to get there pretty fast. He does move in here, Vanderdorf. Now, actually, really unskilled has a couple of options, right? He can actually try and cut off that army. We could decide to go through and... Oh my god, look at these units. The elite upgrade just came in. They look absolutely phenomenal. He's going to get us around, actually. Going to be cutting off the retreat. And there's no way back out here for Vanderdorf, really. Mounted samurai about to ride in, but the spearmen there are in large numbers. The samurai, if they get on top of that, that could be devastating. He's trying to get as many of those crossbows as he can, but can't get to them there with the mounted samurai. Instead, It's going to be the regular samurai that are going to be dishing out all sorts of trouble on those spearmen. If the spearmen do go down, those mounted samurai are going to dish out all sorts of trouble. That's exactly what's going to happen. The English are going to get cleared up, and that's absolutely huge. The Japanese taking a great fight on the top of that cliff, on the gorge, and it's just looking bad for the English. He's going to have to reset. He's going to have to recover. He's going to have to recuperate. But he's going to have to do that back home because he's lost everything on the front lines. He's going to have to rebuild and maybe camp underneath his white tower for a time, because now, with that great fight, with that great victory in that little battle, really unskilled, might be quite optimistic about his chances of getting map control. Maybe getting that sacred site in the middle, maybe getting that sacred site in the south, and really solidifying his positioning on the map. The rocket damage coming in from the Shogunate Castle. No way for that spearman. Gets absolutely devastated. That was I mean, look at that guy. Even left some mud puddles there. He really got demolished. Can be placing a farm immediately over the dead body. Guess it's fertile land. Not sure I want any of that wheat. Does activate the sacred site in the middle of the map. Doesn't have the one in the south anymore though, so that won't activate the win condition for now at least. Does invest in a mangonel. Now, I would actually love to see the Japanese get a mangonel, because this is a lot of infantry. Hand cannoneers there too. We're getting to the stage of the game though that the Japanese might really start pushing hard. It's kind of struggling on the food though, I've got to say. The farming here for the Japanese just not quite online as it is for the English, although it does seem like you just placed some new ones, right? And this is going to be a nice 75 bonus on it. Does have the Yorishiro there. Got to spend that. Or use it, deposit it somewhere. Now he is looking to shore up that sacred sites. Gets a keep on the southeast. The middle one's pretty exposed, but in the northwest he did have the palisades. He's going to get a keep there as well. And I like this play actually, because the keeps on the south and the north, it means that the Japanese only really have to focus in the middle, and he took a great fight already, so the English numbers won't be huge. Even if they are, the bank of resources is unlikely to be particularly huge. But with the Imperial Age coming in for the English, you will have a lot of gold coming in, trickling in from the enclosures tech. At least the lumber camps. Maybe looking to make some more space for some more farms. I like this guy. I do like Vanderdorf. He likes his farms, and therefore I like him. We're going to deny the sacred site in the south, but that won't happen. Oh, he's going to take out a lot of the villages. The castle will go up in time, though. These castles, they are built different for the Japanese. Have 80 rocket damage, 110 versus infantry and cavalry. Speaking about cavalry, take a look what's happening in the middle. They're engaging. The mounted samurai going to be diving in. There's a couple of hand cannoneers, mangonels on the back line, looking to focus on the samurai. There's a Baldaquin, and the mounted samurai do snipe out that mangonel on the back line. The Japanese pushing heavy in the middle. There are a couple of hand cannoneers just trying to snipe as many of the mounted samurai as they possibly can. But it's going to be the elite samurai stealing the show in the middle of the map. And the English do have to back away. They have to run home, look for fresh pastures, look for a renewal, look for a reset. Diving in once more, really unskilled, trying to take out as many of the units as they can. And the unfortunate thing about the English is not actually in range of that white tower. So it's not getting involved. It does have hand cannoneers that will be working quite hard for the English, but it feels like it's not hard enough. And the Japanese, they're pumping out units. 63 military to 30, and Vanderdorf is struggling. The trouble is, really unskilled, doesn't have much in the way of siege, right? Well, I take that back. Take a look at these guys. The Ozutsu coming in with their huge amounts of damage. 130 versus building each unit. So that's going to be demolishing that white tower very quickly, and Vanderdorf, he's struggling to hold on Gorge, and even if he does hold, he's got to deactivate that sacred site. And the question is, will he be able to keep that white tower alive? And there's a lot of Zutsu. He's got to focus fire on the Zutsu if he can. But down to 24 military, this could be tricky for Vanderdorf to stay alive. He's trying to repair, but he lost a lot of units here, the Japanese, to be fair. And he does have the defender's advantage, don't forget. So the English might be able to hold. He needs to hold if he's got any chance of winning this game. There's Zutsu taking out key infrastructure. That's a big part of the push, but the numbers... Wait, what? The villagers? They're going to sacrifice themselves. Vanderdorf. An absolute massacre with those villagers. They have seen better days, I'm afraid. They were sacrificed for the greater good, for the English civilization. Insert any other worthy excuse for sending those villagers to their death, because it kind of worked in the end, to be fair. The Japanese are retreating. Those villagers, they earned their stripes. And Vanderdorf is going to hold. Mounted samurai heading back home with the Reboldakin and the Ozutsu. The Japanese, they've been psyched out. They saw the English are willing to sacrifice villagers. Willing to sacrifice it all, and stressed them out a little bit. Did have to go back home, and the rockets coming out just to defend, and the English have a couple of rogue units deciding that they wish to take on the Japanese themselves. Unfortunately, they weren't the smartest of people. Does get to keep in the center now, looking to defend that sacred site. Does have the sacred site timer ticking, by the way. 6 minutes remain for the English to push out. Starting to build up a number of units though, the English. Vanderdorf with a lot of food income. 3,000 food. Getting biology now, getting those all-important Imperial energy upgrades, which I guess the Japanese probably hoped that they would have earlier, but he hoped he'd win the game there. It did do a lot of damage, so really unskilled. He's in a good position. A lot of villages maybe look to get another keep, maybe stone walls. That is indeed the case. Stone walls in the south would make this area pretty much impenetrable. Great Wall of Japan covering the south entrance to that sacred site. There is a comment in Twitch chat saying that really unskilled is actually not so unskilled, and I have to say I very much agree. Getting these stone walls in the north as well, and that's going to protect that sacred site. It does focus everything down the middle, and that's going to be a large push in for the English to deal with. We will see. The Japanese did get that second town centre in the end, so his economy will be scaling nicely. Hence the villager lead. Having killed 30 villagers of the English. He's looking in a decent spot here, really unskilled with that economy. Lots of wood in the bank, though. Would love to see a couple more farms coming out. Ozutsu coming in. They're going to be finding what they can find. Holy smokes, took out the outpost pretty quickly. We're 4.5 minutes left on the timer, but there's a rocket emplacement in that castle. It's going to get the cannon emplacement as well. This keep is going to be absolutely bonkers. The Reboldaquin are going to be ripping through that front line of the English units. I don't know about this fight here for the English. Does have boiling oil as well. Rockets do fire off, and the hand cannoneers need to be protected. He does have a large mass of hand cannoneers, by the way. They will do great against the mounted samurai if the samurai can't get on top of them, but that's exactly what happens. And this is a massacre again once for the English. He's going to snipe out a lot of the mounted samurai, though. He needs to whittle down the numbers as much as he possibly can. But look at this, the Japanese underneath the castle, an absolute massacre. A lot of dead bodies from the English. The English have to head back home and maybe think about another approach. He's got to find a way to decamp that sacred site somehow. He did it once before. Will he do it again? And cannoneers staying alive, and that's the big difference maker, actually. That is the big premium unit that the English have kept alive, and going to be taking down a lot of the mounted samurais. Japanese, they're pushing forward, though, with the Reboldaquin always threatening to fire off. The English they are backing off for now, but they are whittling down the numbers, right? Japanese military isn't as strong as it once was, and is peeling away with the Ozutsu in the north. And cannoneers are starting to follow. And with the defender's advantage for the English, is going to be able to push this back, you feel. Man-at-Arms going to try and dive on the Ozutsu on the west side. Mounted samurai aren't in many numbers anymore. It does have a large bank of resources here, the Japanese, played by really unskilled. But the hand cannoneer numbers looking pretty scary there for Vanderdorf. 21 so far. And it's proving very difficult for really unskilled to counter those. Especially when they're in the mass that they are. And in the north, trying to get a couple of those houses down. Well, he's going to need to replace those houses, by the way. Because all the population blocked. Enough to one-shot them. Wait, what? Okay, sending just 1 or 2 units just to deny the sacred site a little bit. But only 3 minutes on that timer, guys. Is getting pretty close. 2 trebuchets. Looking to take down that castle. Could be an option. If he takes that castle down, will make things a lot easier. Well, looks like the Japanese are struggling for gold. Well, they're not really. They're just trying to mine this gold. Gets an outpost, and this is going to be tricky for the villagers. The English villagers getting massacred again sacrificed for the greater good. Vanderdorf. He's quite happy to sacrifice his villagers for now. To be fair to him, he's got bigger problems to deal with. And that problem is in the middle of the map. Castle remains here for really unskilled, primarily going for Mounted Samurai. I've got to say though, that's an awkward choice because he's going up against Hand Cannoneers. The Hand Cannoneers are a good counter to them. Can he try and get on top of this Hand Cannoneers if he can? Might look to dive the Trebuchets, but if he dives the Trebuchets, those are Hand Cannoneers which will be left untouched to fight. And does have Man-at-Arms acting as a front shield. Trebuchet trying to retreat. Will lose one Trebuchet. Hand Cannoneers are going to rip through the Mounted Samurai. Going to try and snipe out the second Trebuchet. Doesn't quite manage to get it, I don't think. Or he might just. There's one or two Samurai. He does get it in the end. And he does ride away, but he tries to ride away. Doesn't manage it because he loses everything. But he's coming out for the forward outpost. Looking to get the network of castles bonus. That's actually a really important thing to do. He wants that attack speed. We're down to 2 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Will he be able to deny this? I mean, he might just be able to. There's not enough units here for really unskilled. Look at the military numbers. 74 for Van der Dorf. He's going to look to take out that castle. And if he does, that's going to leave that area unguarded. He's sending more villagers. Van der Dorf, he's fighting with the villagers. The English villagers are made differently. Does have boiling oil. And the rocket damage coming up. It's going to torch that down very quickly. The keeper's on fire. Hand Cannoneers are on fire. Everything is on fire for the English. They're pushing forward. They are going to decap that sacred site. He's actually done it. He's actually managed to do it. He's going to push forward. Does have a couple of Ozutsu or Hand Cannoneers of his own. Trying to fight fire with fire, the Japanese, but he doesn't have the numbers. Van der Dorf's just started making the Hand Cannoneers a lot earlier. A couple of Mounted Samurai are going to ride in, but they're trickling in. They're trickling into the massive Hand Cannoneers. The English are pushing forward at the exact possible time. Villagers getting involved as well. Van der Dorf almost at population cap, so he can afford to do this. He's sacrificing villagers against Samurai. That's a complete mismatch with the English villagers. They know no fear. They're completely brave, and they're going to decap that sacred site. The counter has been taken down, and what a play by Van der Dorf. He's got his way back into the game. Really unskilled, down to 12 military. What a comeback from the English. It's going to be probably got to be one of the best comebacks you've seen in a long time. And he's done it. But the question is, the game is not done yet. It's far from over. Really unskilled. Still has a bank of resources to fight with. So guys, you know when I mentioned that things were going to spice up in this game? I had to say I told you so. Villagers coming down the south, looking to extract that gold. Understandably so, he needs that gold, right? I mean, even with enclosures, it's just not enough of an income. Only 800 gold per minute. And again, I mean, hey, why, you don't, who needs military? No, just fight with your villagers. It's fine. Might as well. They've got torches after all. Interesting enough that Van der Dorf is pulling his army down the south. I'm not so sure why. Why is he not pushing in the middle? He had a lot of army. He had a lot of power. He had a lot of momentum, and he just kind of let the Japanese breathe again. That's really unusual. Maybe he was waiting for siege, but the trouble is he's given time for really unskilled to build up again, and the Mounted Samurai are going to ride up that hill, and that trebuchet is going to be caught. But the hand cannons do take out a couple of samurai. They back off. They were too scared to take the engagement. Probably rightly so, because 93 military versus 52 makes things a little bit difficult for the Japanese. Ozusu might get caught out. Has a couple of longbowmen on the back line. Spearmen on the front line. Man-at-arms on the front line. 1 mangonel, 2 mangonel. Needs to 3 mangonels. And 2 Rebordiquas. That's actually quite dangerous. Gets a huge mangonel shot on the hand cannoneers. They get absolutely decimated. Van der Dorf now has to back away. Huge mangonel shots there for the Japanese. They might be fighting their way back into the game once again. Wouldn't it be for the first time? The Mounted Samurai trying to get as much value as they can. Mounted Samurai can't. Oh, he's baited them in. The Man-at-Arms dive in. It's a front shield, but with the 3 mangonels, they're getting so much damage on the Samurai. I mean, the Man-at-Arms rather gets another shot off on the infantry on the back line, and the English have to head back home. Hand Cannoneers going to be dealing out damage against the Mounted Samurai. Mangonels deploy once again. Dealing out critical damage. He needs to find a counter to these mangonels. They are stealing the show for the Japanese. The Rebordiquin don't even need to get involved at this point. There is one Springald, one lonely Springald there for the English to deal with all the siege that's coming out for the Japanese. Mass siege for the Japanese. Takes out the Trebuchet. And he will lose a Springald, I'm afraid, there, the English. And again, the English being pegged back home. The Bannerman leading the way for the Japanese. Military numbers, though, still very healthy for Van der Dorf. 7,000 food in the bank. Mangonel deploys once again. Oh my god, absolute massacre. Oh my god, I don't even know what to say. That's absolute mayhem. Lost so many units to those mangonels. He's got to take them out. He's got to do something. He's got to do something against those mangonels. But the trouble is, when he does get 1 or 2 Springals, they get sniped by the Springals from the Japanese. He's getting pegged back. These has got to be some of the best mangonel shots that you've ever seen in Age of Empires 4. Certainly some of the best that I've seen. Down in the south. Are they still fighting it out? It looks like the Japanese actually won that in the end. It's got cannon emplacement in the outpost. He's gathering gold, but if this gets cannon emplacement, the villagers wouldn't be able to gather. He hasn't clicked it though yet. He can't afford it. Doesn't have the stone. Alright, now, let's take stock, okay? People are breathing. People are recovering. Production, I feel like the production is lacking for... maybe not. Yeah, it's a decent production here for the Japanese. I think that the production definitely for the English is going to be incredible though. We can tell, we can sense it, right? For the amount of units that are popping out so fast. It's kind of hard to see them. They're kind of peppered around the map. It's kind of crazy how the English are producing so fast. I gotta say, the English don't seem to have that much production, but somehow he's keeping up units producing. I mean, he might be using the White Tower and the Berkshire Palace, to be fair. It's quite possible. Oh my god. Really unskilled. Gonna go for the win condition again, the sake of science. It might work. We'll see if he can defend it the second time round. Alrighty, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be seeing a face-off against the Japanese and the English once again. 37-minute mark on the match, and probably one of the best games of Age of Empires 4 I've seen so far. I'm actually really anticipating who's going to win this. I think whoever wins it has definitely deserved it, because they've both played incredibly well. And it could go either way. I really think this could actually go either way. It's kind of bonkers. I feel like the momentum is definitely with the Japanese with the mangonel shots, which do come out once again on the infantry. Oh no, the English have got to get... He's getting close. He's getting closer with the man-at-arms. They're going to be tanking forward, and he's got to get closer though, because the Rebordoquin is going to be dishing out all sorts of damage very quickly. He might get one mangonel. He doesn't even get one mangonel. The hand cannon is going to dive in, and now the thing is, the Rebordoquins do get sniped out by the ranged units, the longbowmen, but the longbowmen get sniped out by the mangonels. Does use the arrow volley ability, so we're looking to snipe out the Rebordoquins at the very least. Takes out the bannerman. Now the mangonel shots on the longbowmen. They do have to head back. That siege ball there for the Japanese, doing so much work, and the English have to head back home. Not for the first time in this game. This time, you can see the difference in mentality, right? The Japanese, they send their premium units, they send their samurai. The English sent their villagers. Coming out to repair. Funnily enough, they didn't get the repairs in the end. The villagers, they fight bravely, but this time they are no match for the Japanese. Samurai will take them down, but the English, they do not leave a man behind. Sure, they leave them to die, but they will exert revenge. Or at least try to. The samurai now do have to back away. It does leave the middle a little bit exposed by doing this. It's getting rams. Now looking to break down in the south here, potentially here. Feels like he can't push it down the middle. The samurai, they do get trapped. They're getting caught. Oh, going to be diving on the villagers there on the farms and dishing out damage. He's going to send a couple of units here on the north with a couple of samurai. Look at this. Ooh, these barracks, they're beefy, aren't they? Samurai numbers still trying to pester. I mean, this is a good play by the Japanese, by the way. He's actually pulling away a lot of the English army, allowing the Japanese to breathe and find time. Ticking that timer down for the sake of win condition. We'll have to see. Nomad coming with the raid. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope you had a great stream, my dude. We see the mangonels. 3 of them. They're going to unload. Oh my god, the infantry going to be absolutely decimated. Those man-at-arms actually tanking a little bit, but they can't afford to take another shot, you feel. There's Zutsu there on the front lines for the Japanese, trying to take down the infrastructure as much as they can. Man-at-arms do dive on top of them. The Zutsu need to be protected a little bit better here. The Rebordoquin do get sniped by the longbowmen. The samurai left to fight and fend for themselves on the front lines. 7 minutes on that 6-night timer. But well, Vanderdorf always producing military, keeping them close-knit together, fighting as a team. Although these guys didn't get the memo. They're going solo, trying to dive on the mangonel. Well, man-at-arms trying to get on top of the mangonels if they can. I mean, to be fair, the man-at-arms should be able to tank against 3 mangonels. It's mostly the longbowmen that are at risk. The samurai are going to try and defend those mangonels. And does have a castle. More samurai coming from the south. But this is a healthy number of man-at-arms. He's desperate to take out the mangonels. They've done so much damage so far. Boiling oil coming out of the castle. Rocket damage coming from the castle. The brave English man-at-arms, they do take out one mangonel. Do take out a second. Will he get the third? I'm not so sure. He doesn't. I don't think he does. And that's unfortunate. Did take out 2/3 of them, though. He pushes back once again here, the Japanese. Down in the south. Looks like that ram was built in the end, but got taken out pretty quickly. Heading into the 40th minute mark. The Japanese hand cannoneers are holding firm, and he has now teched into elite samurai. Well, he's had those for a while, but they looked a bit different there for a second, but the longbowmen do deploy their arrow volley ability, allowing the man-at-arms to gap close. With the hand cannoneers there for the Japanese on the back line, that could be dangerous for the English army. Man-at-arms, they don't care. They're fighting with valor. The longbowmen dishing out all sorts of damage with the ranged attack. This is a fight that I think possibly the samurai should be able to come out on top of. The longbowmen, they're going to be trying diving in on the hand cannoneers on the back line. I like that play, but it can't get too close. Now it does back away to the network of castles buffering. These three villagers, again, sent to their deaths almost. Try to get an outpost in a very precarious position. Both players with a decent bank of resources, but the timer's ticking once again. 5 minutes still remain. And I wonder whether the English can deny that second ticking of that sacred site. Oh, the mangonel does deploy, gets a huge shot on those longbowmen. Longbowmen going to snipe out a couple of hand cannoneers on the retreat. Samurai do decide to tank on the front lines. They do not want to let those hand cannoneers die cheaply. And rightly so. Fantastic game of Age of Empires 4. Hope you guys have been enjoying it. I certainly have. It's going to be camping out in the central sacred site. The trouble is for the English, you can't really have any access to the south one or the north one. So it just leaves one in the middle. Does decide to pick up another Yorishiro. Going to be putting it in another forge, right? So you're getting quite a decent amount of gold coming in. Just passively. I mean, the longer the game goes, it should favour the Japanese in that regard. I mean, not that they're struggling on gold income anyway. Alright, well, this is a bit of an issue for... Wait, did Vanderdorf just... Vanderdorf, did he just... I heard something get deleted. Was it villagers? I think Vanderdorf just deleted villagers. And it's probably a good shout, actually, because he needs to push in the middle very quickly. The timing is now. Only 3 minutes remain of the sacred site timer. 3 Springles heading forward. Bit optimistic. The Ozutsu heading forward as well. Samurai about to charge in against the man-at-arms. The English man-at-arms going to tank on the front lines, but the rockets coming up from the castle, dishing out all sorts of damage. Those longbows. Got to be careful. The mangonel deploys. He gets a huge shot on the longbows. A lot of them do die very quickly. He needs to take out that mangonel if he can. Man-at-arms going to get on top of that. But he does take another shot on those longbowmen. The English are struggling. And all of a sudden, the Japanese are looking possibly to win this game, but we thought that earlier. Didn't quite happen then. Will it happen this time? Military numbers looking healthy here for really unskilled. A lot of samurai there for the Japanese. Another mangonel does deploy. Loses the springald. 3 minutes till that sacred site timer. That win condition potential. In the north, couple of Zutsu going to take out some of the production, right? That's really smart play by really unskilled. Take out production. Units can't pop out, and that will hold back the English for sure. The Ozutsu stealing the show almost in the north of the map. Man-at-arms and hand cannon is going to try and take them out on the retreat, but Mangonel has other thoughts and plans. Great Trebuchet maybe going down the south. Mangonel does get sniped out in the end. That allowed the longbowmen, of which there are none anymore. There are like 2 to do some damage. The Reborlaquin going to do so much damage on the man-at-arms. It feels like the English have run out of steam. The Japanese, they are looking full steam ahead in the middle of the map. And it does look very difficult here for Vanderdorf. It feels like the only thing he can do now is maybe send all the villagers. He's done it before. Could do it again. Two minutes. Going down the Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Could he really be doing this? Really unskilled. He's got to move. He's got to move now. I think yes, he gets there. He gets there, right? He gets there, chat, right? He gets there. The keep is being repaired. To be fair, the rockets come out and it's only 1 minute 39 seconds on the timer. He's going to try and torch this down, adding in with the trebuchet damage, but it does have boiling oil. No cannon in placement though. He's going to snipe out the villagers that are trying to repair. The villagers do garrison inside. Repairs are no longer coming out. He does dive on top of that sacred sniper. There are mangonels and revolquins as well, just to snipe out those man-at-arms. They've been left behind. Villagers are coming out to torch this keep as well. I think the keep goes down, but what does he do behind that? He's only got 49 military versus 69, and that's going to be difficult to deal with. The keep, I think the castle goes down, but the sacred site time is still ticking. The English try and pressurize on the south. Vanderdorf throwing everything. He's got another mangonel here, the Japanese. Villagers coming out to repair. He keeps the castle alive for now. But once the villagers go down, I think the keep goes down. There is a round coming out too. The keep does go down in the end. But still, only 1 minute on that sacred site timer. A large number of hand cannoneers tries to get walls up again. The Ozutsu trying to push back the infantry as much as they can. The Rebordican need to get sniped. The villagers do actually try and get the stone walls down, but they get sniped. He's managed to trickle through. He denies the walls going up, but for how long? The hand cannon is getting ripped apart by the Rebordican. 40 seconds on the sacred site timer. Vanderdorf, he's running out of steam. Down to 40 military. Wait, is there anything in the middle? Yeah, palisade walled up. That's a good play there by Van, really unskilled. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, sometimes that happens in games where it just taps out, but you can tell that really unskilled did win that game. What a great game of Age of Empires 4. Hope you guys enjoyed the castle game. If you did, watch it on YouTube. Do give the video a thumbs up. And if you're watching on Twitch, let's keep going. Take care, and see you next time.